AMVA is a American Association of Motor Vehicle Administrators, and they have classified our vehicle as a autocycle, which is a sub-classification underneath a motorcycle. So they're saying that a license plate should be a motorcycle license plate, but that the driver operator of the vehicle should have just a standard driver's license as they would for to drive their own vehicle. That no special driver's license should be required.
That's in legislature here right now.
Yes, yeah. So it passed the Senate unanimously.
Good.
And it passed the Senate Transportation Committee unanimously.
Good.
And now it's going to the House. Once they pass that legislation, it will go to the governor's desk for her to sign. And we're hoping that the next, yeah, we never know with Jan, but I think when you see when a lot of the legislators see the facts of this laid out, it makes sense that you wouldn't have to have a motorcycle license endorsement to drive this vehicle. For one thing, with a motorcycle endorsement on your driver's license, you have to do a figure-8 test. To do a figure-8 test in this vehicle, you wouldn't be able to do that. Maybe in your Harley you can, yes, you can do that figure-8 test and keep your balance and go through the cones. In this type of vehicle, our stance of this vehicle is so wide that you won't be able to do a figure-8 test through the cones. So that's why we asked the legislator.
Is the turning radius in this different than my driving a regular car?
Not terribly. I think your turning radius is not going to be that much different than driving like a Ford Focus. So my mother has a Ford Focus. She worked at Ford Motor Credit for 16 years. And when I drove our first prototype in Detroit, I drove my mom's vehicle to where the prototype was. And when I got done driving this vehicle, I didn't notice any difference with driving this than my mom's Ford Focus. Like how it cornered and handled. You know, you forget you're dragging one wheel or two wheels after you're driving this vehicle for quite a while. You don't even think about it because your focus, your attention is in front of you. You're looking at these two tires that are in front of you, so all your attention's out front. And you're looking for traffic and oncoming vehicles. And so you don't even think. I forgot after about 10, 15 minutes I was dragging one tire or two tires in the back because it was so stable. What's that?
Parallel parking, is that just as easy?
Yeah, it was actually very easy. So we paralleled parked this in New York City and Manhattan when we were at the Good Morning America show back in August, and it actually zooms right into some spots that I don't think I'd be able to get into with a four-wheel vehicle that easily, because you can really turn that back wheel. Well, it's front-wheel drive, front engine. 70% of your weight's over this front two tires, so backing in, you can almost back in at an angle with our vehicle, and then literally have the tires so they're pointed out towards the street, and then pull right out into the street. It's really quite easy to park. I haven't personally had any feedback. I've had some insurance underwriters look at it themselves, but we believe as a company that that our vehicle is going to be insured as a subclass of a motorcycle, which is going to mean cheaper insurance for the consumer. And it's going to be registered as a motorcycle in many states already. California, this would be registered. If you took this vehicle to the Motor Vehicle Department in California, they would register it as a motorcycle, which means lower registration costs. So lower registration, lower insurance costs, and the replacement value of this vehicle is much less than even in any motorcycle even made. It's $6,800 as a base model of this vehicle. So the replacement cost is very little, and I think.
Is there any danger of flipping it?
No, there isn't. So actually, you will flip a four-wheel vehicle before you ever flip this vehicle. We have a lower center of gravity because of our three-wheel stance. So our front two tires are just as wide as what a Ford Taurus is. It's 78 inches from end of tire here to end of tire there. Okay, if you take a Ford Taurus, you have 78 inches. You can measure it yourself. You can go measure it, and it will be about the same distance. We're actually the same length as like a Honda Accord. Okay, we're even longer than the Cadillac CTS. One of our co-workers has a Cadillac CTS, and we pulled it up, and we have pictures on our website to show the length of the vehicle is actually slightly longer than the Cadillac CTS that he owns. And we've actually showed that, like, so our stance is we have a lower center of gravity. So the only way you could potentially ever flip this over, from what I'm told, is if you're going directly backwards over 45 miles an hour and then did a wheel lock, and then you could potentially flip it, but you wouldn't be able to do so.
Is there a spare tire?
So there's no spare tire, and one of the reasons a lot of manufacturers are not providing spare tires on smaller B segment vehicles like the Ford. I have a friend that owns a Ford Festiva, and he doesn't have a spare tire, and they just gave him a can of Fix-A-Flat. Yeah, Dodge Dart doesn't have it. A lot of smaller vehicles now are coming from manufacturers without spare tires. What generally happens is what we're seeing in the marketplace is your insurance company is offering roadside assistance. A lot of manufacturers, and I'm not sure saying that we're doing this yet, but there's a lot of manufacturers offering, roadside assistance within a certain mileage for the first 3 years, 36,000 miles. If you break down, that they would have some type of roadside assistance agreement.
Is this a standard size tire?
Yeah, this is a 15-inch tire. Cooper Tires makes this. We partner with Cooper Tires on this. They manufacture these in Findlay, Ohio, and they'll be producing our vehicles. All 3 tires are the same size.
So if you blew a tire like the tread, etc., you need a new tire, not a can of Fix-It.
Well,
is it
if it's a side
that one?
if it's a side puncture, you're gonna have to replace the tire.
Right.
But if it's a puncture just in like a nail puncture, you can probably use a can of Fix-A-Flat.
What I'm saying is that road assistance comes. It's not a can of
Fix-A-Flat.
So how do you get a new tire?
Well, they would probably tow you back.
available?
They would tow you back to a local tire shop or one of ours. So we're going to partner with a large service entity to handle all of our service and warranty work nationwide. I can't announce who that is yet because we haven't done the official announcement yet. But when that happens, we actually do have a working windshield wiper on the new prototype. It's a single wiper, and it actually per federal laws with windshield wipers, they have to cover a certain percentage of the windshield to clear off a certain percentage of the windshield for clearance, and we fit within that guideline. That was one of the key things we had to make sure that we designed a vehicle that here's the
I think there's a
I'll show you.
Yeah. Oh, there is.
This is the new prototype.
Oh, I like it. I like the color.
I'll take you to the website.
So this looks different than this does.
Yeah, so what we did
Because I don't like that.
Yeah, we did a full wheel fairing on this vehicle. So when we did the aerodynamics test on this, you just have to take this back a year. We didn't have a lot of the studies done that we need to have the testing on the vehicle. So that when they do a fluid dynamics testing on this vehicle, the engineers, one of the things we saw is we need to bring the light inside to the body of the vehicle. We need to have a full wheel fairing over the
Is it
over
moved
the vehicle.
up also then?
Yeah, it's closer to the nose of the vehicle.
Oh, that looks good.
And it's incorporated right into the nose of the vehicle. So we'll actually have this vehicle out here in Arizona in the near future, but so it's incorporated. The nose of the new body frame is actually a little bit wider than this one is, and it's we also had to lower the hood level a little bit. I mean the top of the top of the car roof had to come down slightly. And all these changes that we're doing so we can achieve the 84 miles per gallon that we're saying that we can get.
So you think, when is it going to be released? If I put a deposit on one, when would it be released?
We're targeting right now the early 2015 is what we're targeting right now. So that we're like roughly the first quarter of 2015.
Brandon, did you see any either legal or supply chain issues that would push that date back significantly?
I don't see anything myself, but I'm not privy to all the. I mean, I know there's, when you're building a car, there's permitting that needs to handle on the state level and then the local level at the plant facility. I know we're going through that process already since we've taken, we have a lease on the plant and we own all the equipment in that plant.
Where's the plant?
It's outside of Shreveport, Louisiana. It's a former GM plant that was shut down due to GM's bankruptcy, and we're putting back to work over. We've guaranteed the state of Louisiana we're putting back 1,500 manufacturing jobs, people back to work.
Do
in
you
the
still
U.S.
stock in this company?
Not yet, not yet. So, and I'm not sure if we will. Right now, it's just privately held. It's privately held right now, but I don't know what our future plans are. If it's really premature to talk about like if we're going to go public or anything like that. I mean, I wouldn't be able to comment if we do. I don't know what the board wants to do or not. I'm not.
What do you do?
I'm just an employee.
How do you clear the windshield from rain?
We do have a working windshield wiper. I can show you on our new prototype pictures of it.
You're going to have it on the car.
Yeah, so
it wasn't some
You have to
fancy
lean out
high-tech
and go
thing.
like this.
You have to have a really long arm and a good towel.
Now, as far as design changes, I know one of the big costs that auto manufacturers have to deal with is retooling. It seems like you've got a great model. Are y'all planning on keeping it that way for a while, or y'all plan on making changes?
Well, I think that we're probably, I would imagine, keep this for a while, for at least the first couple of years. I really to talk with that, to retooling this completely. I don't. Once we have the design done, I don't think that they're going to restyle the vehicle. Like most OEMs, however, my Ford Fusion just took it over 8 years to retool that one from the start when they started selling that vehicle to now they have a new style out on the road. It took about 8 years. So I don't foresee us changing any styling of the vehicle. Once we start to produce a vehicle that gets 84 miles per gallon, then we'll probably stick to that design level. Unless we find some new technology that would add more miles per gallon.
So basically, we're not going to have to incur cost year 3 because you're wanting to redesign it and with a different design. You're still going to be able to keep that price point low?
That price point, and that's hard to say too. A lot of it, I'm dependent on suppliers. These suppliers aren't giving us quotes for like 10 years down the line or 5 years down the line. They're giving us quotes based on next year, what they can produce and what they're going to make. So it's not going to. I wouldn't want to comment on how they're going to, like, if their costs increase, they might increase our costs. It's hard to determine, like, how far. I think some of the costs are going to go down. Yeah, I think it's a better chance for a lot of these parts. That's one of the things that we're using current automotive technology that's already in the supply base. All you're doing is you're asking the brake supplier to make 100,000 more of those brakes. So what they're doing is it's lowering their cost of production. So I don't foresee it, but I wouldn't want to be quoted, or I could be wrong.
Now, what about alternative power plants like a diesel? I know a lot of people have been asking questions about that.
Yeah, I think we could have a lot of different power plants on this. We could have potential to have CNG. Because of our engines, it's got three ports for fuel injection. So I'm told that with a simple conversion kit of $800 to $1,000 conversion kit, that you could convert it to CNG quite easily, or natural gas. So the engineers tell me that it's not that big of a leap for us to have future models that would run on different types of fuels, propane potentially, or I know the city of Mesa here. Talking with their fleet director, they have buses that run on CNG
diesel,
and I think that's all possible. I think initially, if you ask Paul Elio himself, and I'm sure he'll be here. He is here. He's over there. Gentleman in the blue suit, shaking hands over there. Some Elio people, but Paul would tell you is, his main goal is to get a gas vehicle on the road that gets 84 miles a gallon. Converting it to CNG and all these other types of fuel types, I think that's a little bit further down the line.
Yeah.
It might be 6 months after we start production. It might be a year after, but I think we'll start looking at those types of things as we progress.
Let's face it, the infrastructure is built around gasoline.
It truly is.